Orale! What's up, homies? In today's episode, we go in depth with Dave Chappelle's Netflix special, The Closer. We talk about all kinds of shit. We even talk about the Wu-Tang Clan's drama series, Wu-Tang and American Saga. So you don't want to miss this one. This pewter. All right, we're in business.
Right
Hell
on.
yeah. Hell yeah. What's up, homies?
Not much, man.
I'll tell you what's up. I will tell you what's up. As of this morning, Shiba Inu is now at its all-time high.
What is Shiba Inu?
It's a cryptocurrency that we have invested in.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, all-time high. Our own crypto project is also. I misspoke the last time we recorded. It's not live just yet, but it is. It has been deployed on testnet, so it's going through checks. The Perlium cryptocurrency project is also live. That's the first cryptocurrency that's based on the Philippines. So that's live too. Shout out to DevOps. I believe his personal the programmer's personal what is it company.
Are y'all still stuck with the murderer for president?
There's a new election coming up.
Oh, I thought it happened because somebody said Pacquiao was like at the bottom of the list, so I was like, oh, is he gonna drop off or whatever?
I think those are polls.
Oh, that was just a poll. Okay, so
yeah.
I thought the election had.
I think the election
had happened, and they were showing the numbers of who voted for whom. But I didn't see. I only paid attention to the bottom of the list. I didn't pay attention to the top. So
yeah, I think the election happens next year.
Oh, okay. So the murderer in charge is still in charge. Because my question is, is he going to allow a cryptocurrency to come in and usurp his dollar?
That I don't know. I can't speak on that, but we'll see. That's the best I can tell you. That's the safest answer I can give is we'll see. I mean, you got a few countries in South America. I think El Salvador is one of them that are heavily invested in. And when I say invested, interested in crypto. And so yeah, I think people in governments are starting to realize that crypto is here to stay. So.
Oh yeah.
Chino and Homeboy is we've got our own crypto project. We're working on our own NFT project. So yeah, we actually got to get with DevOps with that one. Chris Narag, thank you for all your work. He's he got busy there because of Perlium, but he actually never forgot about our own crypto project. So and he's really fucking good at what he does, so yeah, he's a bit of a mystic sometimes. He's got that he's got a bit of a hermit in him, but for the most part, that's because of his genius, I guess. You know how geniuses are. They look they may look like they're off kilter a little bit, but it's because they're operating on a different wavelength half the time. But yeah, shout out to DevOps, to Chris, and to Rando, all the work that you guys did. So yeah, what's in the docket today?
We were talking about the Wu-Tang American Saga.
Yeah, he finished the first season, and I've watched everything up to current.
Well, I haven't finished the first season. I was halfway through before I realized I needed sleep. But it is but there is a this consequence of watching the Wu-Tang thing, and it's like you feel you find yourself saying "son" at the end of everything.
Right? No, wait till you start like hearing them say like yo, what up, God? Peace, God. Yeah.
Oh man, dude. Yeah, you know when I think it's adorable how, you know, when they part from each other, they say peace, and they give themselves that bro hug. You know, you clap each other's hand, you know, and then give the bro hug and go peace. And you know, I think that's cool. But yeah, no, I do find myself like going at the end of every sentence now, you know, son, like ending it with son. I don't know why, but it's infectious. You know, I feel like a poser because I'm not from New York, but I'm like, man, now I want to go to New York.
Right.
Yeah. You know, and just walk around going, "What's up, son?"
The Wu-Tang is the rap's Grateful Dead, basically.
I can agree with that. Yeah.
Like if you ever go to one of their concerts, you'll see it. I just wish that these dudes got along well enough to perform more often.
Right.
Yeah.
Isn't there some excuse me. Isn't there some sort of disagreement between you, God, and the RZA?
I mean, they've all had some beef with RZA's. Basically, they were supposed to start as a unit, and they kind of cover this a little bit in season 2. So when they go and start the company, right? So the people who own the company are RZA's brother Divine, and his arch rival Power. Them two funded Wu-Tang Productions. They paid for everything. So they are going to reap the most reward because now, they are the parent company.
Hold up. Power is the small dude who used to work for Cressy, right?
No.
No. He's a dark-skinned dude who has a I think a Range Rover.
Yeah, it's a Land Cruiser. He's the one that looks serious all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
he's
if
the
you
one
listen
with, like,
to the Wu-Tang, what'd you call it? Raekwon always talks about driving in a black Land Cruiser.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's the one you would see Raekwon with the most. Solo.
Man, let me tell you.
Okay. All right. I know who you're talking about. He's the guy. He's the dude who gave whatchamacallit, I guess he's the one who gave Raekwon that red Mercedes, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's Power. Him. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
So
okay.
It seems from the show, and nobody has beef with Power, but everybody has a beef with they basically forced Divine out. So if you watch their documentary, that's also on Hulu, he's like everybody else gets together, but he records his part separate. Like he lives in Marina Del Rey, I think. You know, he has a boat over there.
Right.
But people have discrepancies because they don't understand how the money was generated. So like there's a lack of clarity because they don't know the difference between units shipped and units sold, you know? So like for instance, he told Capadonna, who's not in this show, he's one of the late Wu-Tang members, late as in late to join because he was also locked up.
Right.
Yeah.
And so he said, hey, if you sell this many units, I'll give you like a 10 grand or 50 grand bonus or some shit like that, right? He shipped that number of units, but that number of units hadn't been sold. So like orders came in and we sent the albums, but the albums still have to sell to the individual. And dude didn't understand that and got mad. It was like, oh, you trying to rob me. So that, you know, that's where the tension comes. 2, RZA gets the most money out of everybody because he's the producer.
Right.
So the way music splits go, and they probably didn't know this when they signed their contracts or jumped in the music business, is that the producer gets 50% ownership of the track. The other 50% gets divided with all the vocalists. So
right,
and RZA is producing the track. He's also doing the sound engineering a lot of the times and shit like that. He's doing all of that shit.
He's putting in the background work.
Yeah, and then he becomes a vocalist on said track, right? So so like with the Protect Your Neck song, all of them are on it. He gets a ninth of the 50% for the vocalist and 100% of the 50% for the production. So he walks away with more money than everybody else, on top of the fact that he's the owner of Wu-Tang Productions. So at the end, he gets even more money on top of that. So everybody else, and I think it's a thing because at one point, Ghostface had a problem with them. Method Man may have, but I never saw any news about that. But I know Ghostface had a problem. You God had a problem. They've all kind of, some of them have all vocalized some kind of problem based on finances. And it's like, okay, if you're broke, maybe you're not spending your money right, and blaming me is the wrong move.
Right.
Right.
Because I heard RZA, like, he was in an interview once and he was like, look, man, Ghostface trying to sue me and shit, but like on Supreme Clientele, I did all the production for free. I didn't charge for that. Or he did the sound engineering. You know what I'm saying? Like, he did other work that he didn't even claim, and I've done it for free for like all your projects. So like, why are you coming at me like I owe you money when I didn't even charge you for the services that I rendered?
Right.
You know?
Well, I know that the Method Man had issues with Vine and Power at some point, especially with the whole Woo-wear thing.
Yeah,
because they branched out to apparel.
What they did is they should have had pirate rules from the jump, and they kind of have a scene in the second season where they basically want to start Wu-Tang Productions, but basically all members get a part of Wu-Tang Productions, and then the lawyer's like, you don't want to do that, you don't want to give all the company away.
That's right. Yeah, you don't want to give shares away.
Yeah, so let's set this up differently, so that you maintain control and power. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And they also
where it should have just
had it set up.
Yeah, they should have just had pirate rules, and like, look, Divine and
what rules?
Pirate rules.
Oh, okay, all right.
Pirates are some of the fairest motherfuckers on the planet. Like, I'm not a capitalist as much as a pirate, right? So each man gets their fair share.
Yeah, so, no, that's when I eat, everybody eats. Yeah.
So like, they should have all been listed as owners to some degree of Wu-Tang Productions officially. Like, you have 100 shares, you have 100 shares, or whatever. You know, it's like and pirate rule is like, the captain gets 3 shares, the first mate gets 2, and then every other man underneath that gets 1 share.
Yeah.
If you get injured, like you lose an arm or a leg, you'll get X amount of dollars. Like, they even had their own fucking what do you call it? Workman comp plan in it, right?
Yeah.
So if you lost an arm or a leg, they give you a bonus and put you off on shore, like set you up and let you go.
Yeah, I forgot. I forgot that pirates did all of that, but yeah. I remember reading about that stuff.
I saved a whole fucking pirate, like a couple of pirate codes to kind of read through and everything else, you know?
Yeah.
They're anti-molesting the boy on deck. Couldn't bring women on the ship. If you did, they make you walk the plank.
Yeah.
Right on.
So like, you know, it's like an anti-sex thing going on, or at least an anti-molestation thing going on.
Well, I mean, if you bring her on board and you ain't gonna share, you know, don't bring them on board, period.
Yeah. Right. Well, I mean, it wasn't even sharing. It was just like, no bitches on board unless.
Well, women were thought to be bad luck on ship anyway. You know,
I was just gonna say that. Yeah. I was just gonna say that, like, pirates are a superstitious lot on top of everything else.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So so they should have just broke it down like that, so then they understood, like, hey, when you run this album, Wu-Tang Productions is gonna get paid. Then you as an artist is gonna get paid. Then you as an owner of Wu-Tang Productions will get paid. But everybody knows what we're all owners of the co-product that we all produce individually and as a group.
Yeah.
You know, and so, you know, ignorance, bad spending habits, bad math. Like I don't personally think like Power, RZA, and Divine were trying to scout their brothers, but I think they just use the standard record practices, which is all kind of a fucky deal. And then as they grew, it got sour. So I think back in the day when ODB got out of prison, he let him out of the contract. So like you're a total free agent. I don't have Wu-Tang Productions doesn't have anything to do with your solo projects anymore, kind of deal. And once he let him out, other motherfuckers like, how you gonna let him out but won't let us out of our contract? Because I guess a lot of them start asking to be out of their contract at a certain point.
Yeah.
But Divine is like, fuck letting them out, nigga. You know how much money we giving away?
Man, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that was I think that was one of their things. And then RZA being a more sympathetic person or whatever, he just let like, y'all want to get out, go.
Yeah. Well, didn't they have it all set up to where even though like they would sign with Loud, you know, as like with Wu-Tang as a group, that each individual, you know, member could also sign with their label of choice.
Yeah. So they weren't signing when they basically the deal that he made, and they went over that in the new season. Basically, the deal that they signed said that you're not signing the individual members, so they're not locked in. Where any other company, they do a group deal, they own everybody in the group. So if you want to put out a solo album, you got to put it out through us. And if we don't like it, then we don't put it out. and basically can control the destiny of all the members. And he didn't want that, which was wise. So everybody was able to go and shop their own album to whoever wanted to pay them for it, and have that career, solo career on whatever album that they preferred. I mean, whatever record label they preferred, which was genius and unheard of at the time. And I don't know anybody who's done it since.
Yeah, that's it's unprecedented. It was definitely an orthodox way of doing things.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, luckily, you know, they took advantage of Steve Rifkin, who's burgeoning record label at the time. So
yeah,
you know, if it wasn't for him being in need of a new artist and really believing in them, you know, and I've seen interviews with him, you know what I'm saying? He seemed like an earnest dude, you know, but I doubt if it wasn't for him, they weren't going to find that deal at all.
Right.
Somebody's going to force him like, look, here's the money and we want everybody.
Yeah.
You might have to put in an option like, okay, if you don't like him, if you don't want to produce that album, then we get to shop it somewhere else, kind of deal. But you get first dibs. Like it'll be some shit like that.
Yeah. Well, there was what was it? I watching the show and listening to the tracks. Again, it's like I didn't realize. Excuse me. I didn't realize how I guess involved, you might say, how involved.
He's taking a piss. Now it's back on. Okay. Sorry for that technical difficulty, but we're back.
Sorry about that. That was my bad.
You
pressed the wrong
dig
button.
Dialing the record button?
No, what it is like I have to click a button on my mouse or else it falls asleep in order to save battery. And so when I clicked it, it clicked on the pause record.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're not plugged in?
I'm plugged in.
So why is it trying to save battery?
Oh, you're talking about the mouse because it has a battery.
No, I was assuming you were on your phone and while you're in the toilet. So I was like, are you dig dialing your Zoom?
See, perception is reality, man. I actually thought you was on the toilet.
Yeah. I mean, I had to go take a whiz, but because I'm not actually sitting on a toilet. Yeah, I can't just go.
Right.
I have to put the headphones down, and why are we breaking the fourth wall?
Hell yeah.
That's how we do on the Chino and Homeboy podcast, though.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, but what I was talking about was actually I forgot what I was talking about. So never mind.
Yeah, but we love the woo. The woo is all good.
That's what it is. Okay, so I didn't realize how, for the lack of a better term, involved the Wu-Tang Clan was in the Chappelle skits on Chappelle show.
Oh.
Not just, I mean, they appeared in a couple episodes, but
yeah,
there's that one track. It's the intro, the torture intro to Method Man, the Method Man track on 36 Chambers.
Yeah,
where they're talking about like torture, son, torture. And like there's a skit.
Where, they mock that.
Yeah, there's a skit where like I warmed up
well, first of all, the torture thing starts on the Wu-Tang's debut album.
But right, yeah, on 36 Chambers.
I think they also have something on Method Man's album. Do they?
Yeah. No? Well, the one I'm talking about in particular is the beginning of the Method Man track.
Song. Oh, okay.
In 36 Chambers, like that part where he's like, I'm gonna stick it in your ass real slow. And then the bang them shits with a spike bat. Like that was, that's from that. And then they adapted that into a skit in Chappelle show. So and then the whole like racial draft thing, I was actually watching that last night. As I was going to sleep. So
that's one of my favorites.
Yep. Woo Tang. That's just hilarious.
Right. Oh man, that was fucking great. Yeah. No. Speaking of which, that's exactly what was on the docket today. Was the Dave Chappelle special. Now I know we touched on it a little bit. Like
let me get my notes ready.
Damn, Hey Jones prepared for this shit.
Oh right? No,
I serious.
I've watched so much stuff after it that brought up other thoughts and questions. I was like, okay, let me rewatch it, and I'm gonna write notes so that we kind of stay on a nice track and get a lot of shit answered. I put them in the Notion. I don't know if you guys took a peek or not.
No. I need to get used to that, like actually checking that shit, because I did use Notion to like check up on the movie list and shit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I'm like, God damn, that's a lot of movies. Like,
yeah.
Holy fuck.
Content for years, nigga. Content for years.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's true. What was it? I was watching something that I thought fit the cyberpunk thing, and I thought it was already on here, but it's not. I'll add it. How do I add shit to? Anyway, continue.
Yeah, the Chappelle special.
Yeah, so now he's about to apologize. I think because he's about to do a sit down, but the primary question everybody has is, did you find this special to be anti-trans?
No, personally, I didn't feel I didn't feel that Chappelle was anti-trans or anti-LGBTQ at all.
Homeboy?
I don't think it was anti-trans either. Or anti-LGBTQ. I think that the biggest the criticisms that are being levied against Dave has more to do with they hear one specific thing, like I'm a TERF, right? And then
Team TERF,
right? That just wells up a whole bunch of negative emotions, and then and they ignore all of the context prior to him making that statement, and then they stop listening to anything he had to say after that statement, because he pointed it out.
Yeah, when I watched it the second time, I'm like, he's clearly making a statement of what he doesn't like, what he doesn't agree with.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we're all humans, and I can treat you with respect.
Yeah, yeah, because he even like he bluntly stated it. I am jealous of their movement because they've gotten more traction and gotten further in a shorter amount of time than Black people have in their movement. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, with the level of respect and demands that they're putting forward and actually getting, right, as opposed to Black people. He actually came out and said that. He said, I'm not mad at you, I'm jealous, right? Because you could tell in his statement when he was like, look at how fast your movement look at how far your movement has gone. It must be nice. You know?
Yeah.
And you can tell by that tone alone. And I'm like, there's a hint of jealousy. But you know what? That jealousy, I would hate to say it's justified because it's not fair, right? You know, I mean, I could understand why he would make that statement because there is a perception of like, how is this fucking fair? And he even came out and said what it is that he would like to see. He wants to see the Stonewall gays and the Stonewall trans people, because during that time when the Stonewall protests and all of that shit was going on, they were trying to bring up Black people and women with them. It wasn't just like this exclusive movement, you know? And he's just not seeing that anymore.
A group, anti-oppressive movement opposed to just it's about us.
Yeah, exactly. He makes that very clear in his special too. But you know, you forget all of that because you were being entertained, you know, and you were laughing and you weren't paying attention to what was actually being said. And then when he comes out and says, I'm Team Turf, he just turns everybody off of that, you know?
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't understand how they didn't get that was a joke. Or at least it was only partially true, because I think he's in my boat. Is like, you can live your life however you want to live, and I will use whatever pronoun you want me to use. But I'm not buying all this redefining what a woman is, just because you feel feminine or feel like you're a woman. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's where his shit stops. It's like, you're a human, you got some special shit going on, but I can't, in my life, declare you to be a woman. I can treat you as such. I can talk to you as such. I can use whatever pronoun you want me to use, but I can't, you know, co-sign a few things, which is probably like the sports thing and the like the woman of the year shit. Like, Homeboy gets a sex change and automatically becomes woman of the year. I'm like, y'all planning on giving him the man of the year before he had the surgery? Had to switch it up.
Caitlyn Jenner wins Woman of the Year award in his first year as a woman, is what he said.
Yeah, I mean that was white privilege and male privilege all wrapped into one.
Yeah,
Like that motherfucker still had his dick. I don't even know if he got it cut off.
Did they when they got that cover? Did they still have the penis?
Yeah, attached? I do believe so. I didn't think.
He just said, like, you know, first year as a woman, and you know he gets cover. Hold up, Jamie, can you look it up?
Jamie's but I'm saying that's when he declared himself a woman legally, but I don't think he had gone to the penis surgery yet.
All right.
Wait, when? So did Caitlyn Jenner have that surgery?
I think he did, but it was like a year or two later. It wasn't in the first year.
Okay.
Well, if my memory, you know, serves me correctly.
There's that bit that he does in that stand-up where, you know, he said, I'd be more comfortable. I'm more uncomfortable with, you know, having a woman who, you know, a person who looks like a woman pee in the stall next to me.
Yeah.
Or pee in the urinal next to me, as opposed to, you know, like a dude.
That's the shit that I was tripping off, because I'm like, that whole joke was pro their bathroom issue.
Right.
Like, it's like, I'm supporting you in the bathroom shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like, why is this dude peeing out of his butt?
Yeah.
You know
what
that's what he said. Yeah, that shit was hilarious.
So I'm like, where's the problem at? Like, I didn't find any of his jokes to be like shitting on trans or gay people. Right. He was just telling, here are some stories of my interaction with gay people who think I hate them, or trans people who think I hate them, kind of deal.
Yeah.
But he never said like, hey, y'all don't have the right to be XYZ. Fuck you. I'm not gonna call you. You a woman. You a man. I ain't gonna never call you a woman. Fuck that shit. Right. You got a dick. You ain't a woman. Kind of deal. He didn't say any of that shit.
Yep.
Which is usually the shit that gets people inflamed. So I'm like, he's not denying your existence. He's not denying your, not progress, but your, what do you call it? He's not denying the existence or your
station. I don't know.
I don't know the word either. I'm still trying to look at, like, I had to fill the dead air with something. I see. Hey Jones. Hey Jones paused.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's striking a pose right now.
Yeah. Okay.
My internet is going low.
You figure out the word?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Oh, okay. No, I was gonna say station. He's not denying their agenda. That's what it is. So it's like, I'm not against your agenda of getting your rights. I'm not denying your existence as a human being and how you. So
missed that last part.
Yep.
I think basically Chappelle is saying, like, I'm not trying to take anything away from you. Or like, you do you, just yeah. I think that's what he's on, is that I agree with Hey Jones that he's not trying to deny their existence. He's not trying to belittle their or diminish their struggles. He's praising their movement, actually.
Yeah.
So
He's just jealous of the movement and how quickly that they're getting, their recognition and all of that shit, as opposed to all the centuries of struggle that Black people have been putting in.
Right.
And I'd be jealous too. Shit. I mean, goddamn. Holy fuck. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not me, son.
No, mean son. Yo, peace, God.
Right. So so according to Google, right? I mean, Jamie, I think Caitlyn Jenner got her gender reassignment surgery done in like 2017 or some shit like that. I mean, there's nothing definitive. She keeps that shit under wraps pretty tightly, or I just didn't have the patience to dig any deeper than a cursory search. But right. Caitlyn Jenner got Woman of the Year while still having a penis. That's a slap in the face of women, honestly. Like, can you at least have like your vagina before you get Woman of the Year? Shit, that should be a qualification. You must have a vagina.
Look.
Well, my thing was like, what did she do to become Woman of the Year when she's only been a woman for a year?
Check this out. I mean, look, they trying to cancel Dave Chappelle because of this shit.
Yeah.
Because of some shit he said. That thing that Homeboy just said, like, that's a slap to the face of women. Man, that's what's gonna get us canceled, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. They're gonna say, oh, Homeboy, Chino and Homeboy are team turf.
Yeah. So, I guess let's just, keep going.
We're gonna get canceled. We're gonna get canceled deep into the ground, son. I mean,
right.
When we put on our next show, it's because we dug ourselves out like zombies and shit.
Like, yeah. Hey Jones is gonna get me too because of pantsing women. I repeated a Dave Chappelle joke that I heard in that special. Without any context or any preface, and now this shit. So
absolutely. But but again, we go back to you know, that conversation that we had where that for bureaucratic reasons, you know, it's much simpler to just be like, do you have a vagina or do you have a penis? Regardless of what you identify with, that shit is definitive, right? That is some definitive shit that you can, you know, you can observe.
Are you saying that's definitive dick?
Yes.
That's exactly what he's saying.
Yes. I'll tell. No.
Pussy.
Look. You know what?
There's your dick joke.
Right? Exactly.
We can end
exactly. Sit. Show's over. But no, definitive dick. Yeah. Well, you know what? No one cares about women transitioning to men. No one gives a shit about that. You ever notice that? No one puts up a fight over that shit, right? The fight is really the real fight is with men transitioning into women. You know, now there are a lot of sports that, you know, men transitioning into women can participate in, and I'll tell you why. Right? Woo! That's a good 8. And that's because when you start giving men estrogen and you reduce their testosterone, they don't have as much strength, right? Muscles atrophy, right? So a power lifter who was powerlifting as a man starts getting estrogen treatments, inevitably, mind you, their muscles are going to atrophy to the point where, you know, they probably don't have, you know, the same strength that they had when they were a man, right? Because testosterone is one of the main components to bulking up, you know, as a man, right? And let's not forget that some women out there produce more testosterone than other women simply because of how much testosterone they would have been exposed to while in the womb, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. But there are some sports where I agree men who transition into women should not be allowed to participate in. One of those is running. Anything having to do with running as a speed contest. I'm not talking about pole vaulting, right? You know, running is a component of the entire event. You know, there's still some skill involved in, you know, getting that stick in the notch and then, you know, hurdling yourself, you know, over the fucking thing, right? But like a marathon or, you know, what is it? The 100-yard dash and the whole hurdles thing. No, a man transitioning into a woman cannot alter their bone structure in the hips, right, in order to be like a woman. So they have
more
skeletal,
more torque.
Let me be specific. They have a skeletal structural advantage over any woman born a woman. All right,
they have mechanical advantage.
Question.
Yeah.
Are men's bones denser than women's?
Well, here's the thing, right? That density can change, right? So
yeah, depending on the workload.
Yeah. The density can change. Like even like Chino says, right? Depending on workload, right? The more pounding you give your bones, the more microfractures you're giving them, right? So a woman who is like we're gonna say a natural born woman, and fuck it, let that get us canceled. Running marathons, right? Running marathons is gonna have more dense bones in her legs and probably her back.
Well,
someone who doesn't run marathons.
No, run it like you got a 6 foot tall woman, you got a 6 foot tall man.
Yeah.
They're roughly weigh about the same. Is his bones heavier than hers?
It depends, man.
I'm saying in general.
No, I couldn't tell you because there's so much that contributes to bone density that's genetic and it has nothing to do with your gender.
Well, there's another component to this that I think creates an unfair playing field. Men grow taller than women, right?
Generally,
Generally speaking,
especially in the athletic space, right? They're a lot taller. Like if you look at tennis.
Hold up. Now I'm gonna have to stop you on that one because when you go, you know, generally speaking, and then specify it to the athletic space,
you said generally speaking.
No. You are making a general assumption that men grow taller than women. This is true, generally speaking. However, in the athletic space, let's not forget that a lot of those women are taller than the average man.
But they're not taller than the average athlete, professional athlete.
I see where Hey Jones is
still
going.
That scale still exists within the pro sports. It's just bigger.
Right.
So you'll get women who will run like at the tallest, maybe like 6'6", but there's like a ton of NBA 7 fucking footers, right? So that's what I'm saying. So like, say for instance, Shaq, right? If this motherfucker was still, let's say a few years back when he was still playing professional sports, and he decided to transition and go to the WNBA, he would have an unfair advantage. Like all these things might change over time with estrogen production, but for those first few years, this nigga's gonna be killing the game with dick power.
Well, then there should be a time after transition before you're allowed to participate in sports.
Because they showed some dude who transitioned to a woman and then went into MMA, and this motherfucker looks like a dude in the ring beating up on women.
Chino, who's that?
The only one that comes to mind, the most prominent one, is Fallon Fox. She, excuse me, she would just murk these women in a cage, because I haven't really seen any of her fights. It's just, it's a hot topic over the last couple of years, so I would see it on my news feed. I would read the articles, and the main issue that a lot of people have, including Joe Rogan, is that you can't change that bone density. You can't change, at least not that quickly. Your muscles have a memory, etc. And so while she might not be as muscular, for example, as a pre-op or even someone who isn't transitioning, you still lose that muscle mass. And actually there's been a few doctors who have said, over time, yes, your bone density will change, and again, that is contingent on whatever the workload is, but to answer your question, Fallon Fox, I'm not sure if that's the same person that Hey Jones is talking about, but Fallon Fox is the most preeminent transgender MMA fighter that I can think of. So, it might be the same person. I don't know.
So it says here that recent data from transgender men, female to male, and women, male to female, receiving hormone therapy have shown an increase in bone mineral density after 12 months of treatment. Now, I don't know for sure if that means that it's for both, right? But it does say that females transitioning to males, or women transitioning to men, or whatever, do have an increase in bone density when they start receiving testosterone treatment.
This is from the NIH, the National Library of Medicine.
I see we're looking at the same page. I see we're looking at the same Jamie.
I don't know. This says males have larger skeletal size and bone mass than females, despite comparable body size. So that's definitely a fucking advantage.
I think that applies most especially after puberty. After.
Well, I'm talking about adults, not children.
Right.
Yeah,
I got you.
So like that's another unfair advantage. You know what I'm saying?
So basically, what we're saying is the only sports, males transitioning to females, so you just get into equestrian or some shit.
Yeah, well, my thing is with this, I kind of look at it like the handicap, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you ain't got no legs, you're not playing in the NBA, right?
Right.
Just certain things in life exclude you from doing certain shit. Sorry.
It's just a fact of life.
I feel bad for you, but it's a fact of life.
Yeah.
You have Down syndrome. You're never playing in NFL.
Right.
I'm sorry. You can't read the playbook well. You're not going to remember it all. That's just the way it is. You know? And you know, they want to be completely fair, but it's just not it's just not fair.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, there's no way to be fair to the masses to just be fair to you. Yeah.
Right.
You know, so I think that's the whack part. You know what I'm saying? Like, just some of you, like, sorry. I mean, we could just start have the gay agenda start a trans sports league.
So
yeah, you know, I was going to suggest something like that.
Because what they're going to push, what's ended up going to happen if we stay PC with this, or fair with it, quote unquote, is we're just going to have unisex sports, and all of them going to get pushed out.
You think so?
I mean, that's where it's fucking. That's
where it's
going. So, like, with all the stuff that's coming out of the LGBTQ space, is like, oh, everything is fluid. Gender is a fucking construct. You know, your sexuality is fluid. Your gender is fluid. XYZ, everything is unisex, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, as much as they claim to, you know, like, how to say this? So they talk about gender as a construct, a social construct, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then they play directly into it. You know, so, like, you
right.
know what I'm saying? Like, I am a real woman, even though I was born with a penis. Like, but I thought this was construct.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And then when you talk to, you know, I've heard a couple of interviews.
That is a very valid thing.
Yeah.
That's a very valid point.
I tried to talk to this with my girl, and she couldn't get it. Or didn't want to get it. She's very she's very rainbowy.
I'm trying to come up with the analogy. It'll come to me, but continue.
Yeah. Okay. So they
play into the whole gender thing.
They play into the whole fucking gender construct, simultaneously saying that it's all a construct and we should stop doing XYZ because it's all fluid.
Right.
And then you have what was this other part? Damn it! Oh, I keep forgetting this fucking thought. So
have you been smoking, Hey Jones?
I had a
because you know marijuana affects the memory.
I had a cocktail, a margarita with my breakfast.
Well, there you go. I like it.
It is
you
Sunday.
Know what? Look,
it's Sunday brunch, man. It's
you know
Sunday.
what I'm saying? Look. I think Hey Jones would have been a great sailor in the Navy. I'm just saying. I mean, a margarita for breakfast? Come on. I just did that shit in Australia. Shit.
That's right.
I was drunk by 10 o'clock.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah.
All right, I'll come back to my other point. I keep forgetting that one. But
yeah,
that's the primary thing is like you. Oh no, this is what it was. I've heard several trans folks talk about their identification as a woman and how early it started, right? And it all goes to the bullshit that we know. You know, like I always liked the color pink, and I played with the girls' toys instead of the boys' toys. And
oh yeah, that's playing.
I was like, that has nothing to do with being a woman, because that is programming.
Yeah, that is programming. I mean,
and they've already did studies.
I played with Barbies too. I used to have Michael Jackson have sex with them.
Yeah, but even then,
I wear pink clothing.
I saw a recent study that they did on 2020 where they put a bunch of kids in a room and, you know, gave them all kind of toys, boy toys and girl toys. And the girls were playing with the fire trucks and whatnot just as much as the boys were. Now, the boys weren't as interested in the girl toys, but the girls were interested in all the toys. So I'm like, all these things that I hear them say, I'm like, well, that's you falling into the construct.
Yeah.
Right. That doesn't say that you, because you don't know what it feels to be a woman. You just see a thing and say, hey, I want to identify as that.
Yeah, I mean, they just don't understand, right? That, you know, dudes are simple creatures. That's like, look, I want to play with cars. You know what? That's all we're ever going to play with for the rest of our lives, right? But women got to have their hand in everything, right? That's why when you get married, they want everything from you and just leave you with nothing.
I like that that whole, like, you know, men are simple thing. You know, once I realized that my God-given male member was not going to give me any peace, I decided to give it no peace in return. You know what I mean? Rest in peace, Christopher Hitchens. That's where we got it from.
Yeah. So I think my ultimate statement is identifying as something and being something are two different things. And we can roll this back to Rachel Dolezal.
Well,
she
what?
She wants to identify as a Black person,
right?
But she's not.
But she didn't grow up. She didn't grow up in that experience. It's like Bane, right? Yeah. You know, she's essentially Bane talking to Batman. Like, you merely adopted the Blackness. Me, I grew up in the Blackness.
Yeah. You know, and bless her heart, you know, she joined the NAACP. She fought the good fight, but she did it all under this weird dynamic, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Of lying to people about her parentage.
False premises.
You know what I'm saying? She raises some Black kids.
This false. Let's just point out that this discussion quantifies Homeboy's theory of never fuck with a human being's sense of fairness.
Yeah.
Right.
Never ever. Because, you know, this really boils down to like, what is actually fair? Like, societally speaking, right? Now, right. I'm gonna you know, further dig the cancellation hole for the Chino and Homeboy podcast by agreeing with Hate Jones and saying that, you know what, until we figure out this whole, you know, transsexual transition thing, like, you just barred from participating in any kind of professional sports or amateur sports or sports in general. You know, like, you like lifting weights, you're a power lifter, you know what, you can do that on your own time, but you cannot participate for medals and money.
Yeah, because that honestly right now, I think that's the biggest fight right now is sports.
Yeah,
like that's the next plateau, is like getting the sports regulations. So like there's already legislation saying that trans kids can't play sports.
And look, I got one. I got the legal argument, but continue.
No, this has nothing legal to it. I say the rule would be all trans kids got to play with the boys.
Well,
because the women leagues only exist so that women don't compete with people who have an unfair advantage over them, right? But anybody can play with the dudes because we're at the top of the scale. So like either you can compete with us or you cannot. So for instance, when I played basketball in junior high school, there were girls good enough to practice with the boys or to play with the boys. But there were no boys, no matter how whack they were, could play with the girls. Right? So like that, no matter how whack they were. Everybody can play against the dudes because either you're gonna get crushed or you're going to become a champion. But female sports or women's sports were created so that women had a fair ground to play and weren't, because if they had to play with all dudes, they wouldn't even be in the game.
You cut right. Like MJ.
They're not making the team.
Yeah. You know,
if all track and field players, like all men and women running, were all running together.
Right.
Women wouldn't make the team.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Like when has a woman outran a man in the marathon?
Can you imagine a fucking nose tackle, you know, that has bitch tits like Bob in Fight Club? Yeah, like this massive woman, transgendered person. I have to be politically correct, right? I mean, if we're gonna get canceled, we better get canceled right. Just
mention every single, you know, like thing they might say about themselves.
Look, we're trying to keep the podcast under an hour.
wait, hold on. I thought this was Chino and Homeboy podcast. I thought we broke rules here.
Oh, look, I know it's just a guide, but we try. I said try. Operative word there, try. Okay.
We've already failed.
Yeah.
But imagine a transgendered person, right? Like huge, massive human being with like these humongous breasts, right? As a nose tackle in the NFL, you know, like holy that's some scary shit, man. Like who wants to confront that?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It might not hurt as much because of the boobs.
Now here's a story.
The shoulders still fucking hurt.
So here's an anecdotal story of male dominance. So my buddy said that he rolled up, he played soccer, and somehow he was involved in watching a soccer game between pro female soccer players, against male college soccer players,
right?
And the male soccer players who are on and the college level, they're not even pros, whooped the shit out of the female soccer players.
Right. Remember what I said about any sport that requires running as a dominant portion of the sport.
That's almost every fucking sports except for wheelchair hockey.
Well,
equestrian.
Yeah, equestrian. That's using the horse's legs. In fact, women have an advantage in equestrian. They weigh less.
Yeah,
there you go.
But
no,
but in equestrian, the athlete is the horse, not the person.
Well, have you ever ridden a horse?
No.
Well, that's because you don't know what it takes to ride a horse. See, you're over here trying to identify as someone, trying to tell what equestrians do, having never lived the equestrian life, son.
Okay, I may have ridden a horse at a young age at a fucking school field trip or some shit.
To Griffith Park? You mean you rode the ponies where they strapped you in on a belt and you just go 2 rounds?
Yeah, that shit.
Look, I've been on a horse once. I remember like getting on the thing.
It takes a lot for you to stay on it, but to go fast, the horse is doing the fucking work. Okay.
Yeah, but this is not Santa Anita where the horse is going around in a fucking oval. Equestrian events require the horse to jump over shit, do tight turns, rodeo shit. That requires a lot of core muscle movement, man.
For you to stay on.
and control the horse, because you're trying to control the horse with your fucking legs and your hips.
Man, that horse know to run.
The horse knows to run. It doesn't know
I'm saying it knows the run. It knows what it's supposed to fucking do. It's not stupid. Do you ever watch the dog training events?
Do you know how long it takes? Do you know how long it takes to train a dog?
Hold on.
Now you got to train a horse while you're on it.
Can I finish my statement? If you watch the fucking dogs do the same shit as the equestrian athletes, with a couple of added barriers or whatever, obstacles, without somebody being on his fucking back. So I'm for certain that the fucking hold on. I'm not finished.
Put a monkey on the back of that dog. Put a monkey on the back of that dog, and then we'll talk.
I'm not finished. The fucking horse knows the fucking routine. It can probably do the whole shit easier without a bitch on its back. Okay?
You don't know horses very well, man.
Look, if Mr. Ed can count to 3, they're not stupid animals. Okay? They're smart. They've just been browbeaten and broken.
Oh man.
A horse ain't never wanted a nigga on its back. Okay? Ain't never. You have to mentally abuse and break a fucking horse to allow a person to get on its back.
Oh man.
Okay, so I'm quite certain it can run the equestrian route and make its turns and jumps all on its fucking own. Because it runs and jumps. Shit, I saw a video of a fucking horse damn near do a fucking somersault on its own with no human on its back for fun. So I'm quite certain it can learn to run a fucking route and jump over some fucking fences with some fucking carrot and stick reward shit without a motherfucker being on his back.
Hey, Joe's hating on some equestrian shit.
You could probably put a fucking robot there to pull the reins on his mouth if you just want to control it.
Look,
you know what I'm saying?
Look, speaking of control, see, this is okay. Like I said, I've been on a horse once, right?
Is horse racing the only unisex race? Because
I don't know. But check this out.
There's no male horses and female horses. They're all could be anything in these races, correct?
I think they have to be stallions, don't they?
Nope. In thoroughbred horse racing, you will on occasion get a mare competing against stallions. Yeah, or at least it's fillies against colts, because once they start getting older, the competition does start getting worse, you know. But it is fairly unisex. Thoroughbred horse racing does allow for females, like H8 Jones said, right? It allows for females to compete in the male races, right? But they do not allow the stallions to compete in the female races. This is true. Exactly. This is true. So yes, but jockeys, however, when it comes to the jockeys, you know, you can have men and women riding, you know, stallions and fillies and all of that shit. Yeah. That's unisex. In terms of the human on top, in terms of the human on top, doesn't matter what's between your legs. Yeah. But as far as like, you know, the animals themselves, because
they are separated by sex.
Yeah, because you know you can't have a male horse transition into a female horse, because that just doesn't happen.
Hey, if it happens to us, who says that the horse ain't trans?
Yeah. In fact, there was a horse. It was a female horse. I think her name was Rachel Alexandria. And she won the Belmont. Rachel Alexandria.
I knew you were going to say that.
I think she won the Belmont Stakes, which is the longest race in the Triple Crown. Horse races.
How often has a female horse beat a male horse in a major race?
In a major race? In history. Very few, historically, very few times, because it's just not typical for female horses to participate in these. But when female horses do participate in them, they generally lose.
Okay. All right. So that's all we saying. That's all we saying. It's not fair. It's not fair, and it's not fair.
Oh, okay. So she won. Right. She won the Preakness. The horse won the Preakness Stakes. That's what she won. She won the Preakness Stakes.
Yeah. Now let's stay on track and stick on the Dave Chappelle thing. So here's some other questions.
That's right. You had notes.
So some people felt that he was playing the Oppression Olympics in this.
What is the Oppression Olympics? That's the first time I ever heard this.
Basically, when you're comparing your oppression to say you're being oppressed more than the other group.
Oh, well, I mean, that's fair though. He was, and I'm not opposed to say that, because you're trying to say like 400 years of subjugation and oppression still to this day, right? Versus, you know, winning Female of the Year.
Yeah. Right. Well, I mean, the gay folks have been oppressed to some degree. If they decide to come all out, you know, somebody finds out about you, they might kill you.
But they haven't been subjugated like Black people, though.
Yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, there's a difference, you know, but still to this day, you know, you find out that you're gay, you could get kicked out of your house. You find out, tell your parents you're trans, you get kicked out of the house. Now you're working on the streets, and you know, if you trans, it seems that you get, you know, trans cats get murdered on a regular, right? You know, because they're living on the streets and hooking, or they're, you know, lying, or at least hiding their sexual identity to their mates. And then when that gets exposed, so maybe the dude they're fucking doesn't mind, but he don't want nobody else to know. And then once everybody else knows, he flips out and murders her. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, well, you know what? I mean, that's a form of oppression that's constantly going on. On top of the fact, when they get arrested for criminal crimes, sometimes they get tossed in with the dudes and get fucked over in that space. So, like, you know, it's a, you know, they have some shit that's going on, and the only difference is they can hide it if they wanted to.
Right.
Like that's the biggest difference, is like you could totally just pretend to just be regular.
Right. Well, I don't think it's oppression Olympics in as much as it is people misunderstanding Dave Chappelle. Like like he said some shit back in the day, because he didn't understand it or whatever, or he didn't understand, he wasn't quite, he wasn't quite as versed as he is now. Like shit, I didn't know any better back then either. You know what I mean? It just so happens that he, because he's a comedian, he's in the limelight, some of the stuff that he said, as material for his shit, was taken the wrong way and, misunderstood, and they held on to that. So I think this special isn't so much, this Netflix comedy special, it isn't so much Dave playing oppression Olympics as it is like, hey, look, I said this shit in the past, but that's in the past. I know a lot better. I know better now, but I think it's a response to to him being called out as this or that, like him being labeled as transphobic or not a supporter of LGBTQ rights or whatever. He's like, no, motherfucker, I'm for you guys.
Shit, he even said he rubbed up against one up in the club. It was
right.
Like, well, shit, I just titty fucked her anyway.
Right.
So I'm like,
there you go.
Can't be too anti-trans
exactly.
If you're willing to get down.
exactly.
You're willing to get down after you knew.
Right.
Did I tell the story of me seeing a dude hook up with a trans Asian woman in the club one time?
No, you did not.
Shit. Oh man. So it might have been Dave Chappelle. He's fond of the Asian ladies.
Yeah.
So I was at Club 7969, which is on the Santa Monica side of the game. Like it's like a block away from West Hollywood, right? And on certain nights it is a gay club, and on certain nights it's kind of a straight club that has a lot of bisexual women. And that's why I went there. It was like a hip hop night. It was like a Thursday night, and you go in there, and they're one of the clubs that kind of, because it's kind of a strip club for the most part, and stripper pole on the inside and shit like that.
Right on.
But like on Wednesday, it's an all gay review. On Tuesdays, it was Club Peanuts, which was a Black lesbian night. Thursdays was Granville, which was kind of straight, but it was a lot of bisexual women in there. But mostly white folks, and a lot of brothers in there. Few sisters were in there when I've gone, but it mostly was like a lot of white chicks. And the dude I was hanging out with, that was kind of his shit. So I was just rolling with, and then I just leech on to any Black woman that's in there.
Right.
Like, you cool? Because I'm not really down with the white meat as much. Yeah, I need my pussy to have some rhythm to it.
Right.
So
yes.
So over time, I guess the production company for that night switched, and the place kind of got dead. It seemed like a lot of brothers found out about the place. So it used to be like me and homie would be in there, and we'd be like a rare few that are in the spot. And then over time, it just got blacker and blacker and blacker. And this is like years down the road. So one day we go in there and it's kind of dead. You know what I'm saying? There's like a way more, usually it's the place where like they let more women in than men kind of do. So when you go in, it's always nice. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And all of a sudden it switched. I go in, it's like, what are all these fucking dudes doing in here? Where are the chicks at? You know what I'm saying? So it's like a dead night, wasn't too many people in there, and it was way more dudes in there than not.
Okay.
In there kicking it, vibing up. And I see this Asian chick, and black mini skirt, long hair down her ass and shit, like the Soul Train chick, and big ass fake titties.
Right.
So I spot her across the way, and then eventually she started dancing with this brother. And then as they were dancing, her skirt kept rising up. And so I'm like, oh, this is a free peek, you know?
Right.
So I'm eyeballing, and the dress comes up and I see a dick. Cock and balls. I was like, oh shit. Does homie know? Cause this ain't trans night. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, oh shit. And homeboy's like on her, you know, like he grabbing everything.
Not this homeboy. Not this homeboy.
Not this homeboy.
Yeah.
The homie there, like this stranger. You know, squeezing titties, grabbing ass.
Because let me tell you, I had a situation happen to me personally in was it Kuala Lumpur, man.
Okay, hold that until I finish, because I got two trans stories, and then we'll transition over to yours.
Oh man, I thought we were trying to keep this shit under an hour.
so at a certain point, dudes start tonguing her down, and I was like, oh boy. So now I'm thinking, this nigga gonna find out that she has a penis, and then there's violence is gonna happen. So I'm kind of like semi in fear, but you know, there's security here. But I'm like, that only helps if they get found out at the club. But if he gets found out in the car or at the apartment or the hotel or something like that, this person's life could be in danger, right?
Right.
So I go over to the fucking security guard, and I'm like, because at this point, the whole club has seen the penis come out.
Yeah.
And know what's going on, but nobody knows if he knows, because he's not grabbing the dick. He's grabbing the ass and grabbing the titties and he's kissing.
Yeah.
So I go over to one of the security guards that I see there all the time. I was like, dude, you see this shit? He's like, yeah. I was like, do that nigga know? He's like, shit, I don't know, nigga. I don't know. And so we just watched. And I waited till we actually stayed at the club just to see how the shit panned out. So it was a dead night. We still stayed till close.
You and everybody in the club.
Yeah. We waited for the lights to come on, because I couldn't see her face. So I don't even know if she was cute or not.
Yeah.
So we waited for the lights to come on to see what kind of reaction happened, and they left the show hand in hand.
Damn. All right.
You know, and I think a couple of times I saw a dude reaching for the pussy, and she kind of moved his hands away. So it's like, you know, you're not gonna touch the dick, but you can touch everything else.
And she was she short?
Yeah.
Man.
Wasn't the tiniest person, but she was probably like 5'6", 5'7", something like that. The dude was like
short for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I saw a trans woman wearing a miniskirt one time, and I thought that shows a lot of balls.
Now my second time seeing a trans situation, we were at the same club, same location, but on Sunday nights, which was kind of like a 80s music night, but usually it's all straight people in there. You might get a few gay folks in there here and there. So I go with Dirtmaster, and then my homeboy, we're gonna call him Von Ho. He shows up with his homie who's in a wheelchair and another dude. The other dude kind of looks like he's in special ed. Like he looks a little retarded.
Man, you know, I thought it. You said it. If we get canceled for that, fuck you.
Okay. Let
hold up.
Let me clear. He looked like he might have Down syndrome.
Okay. Well, look. Here's the thing, right? Like, I'm in agreement in using the word retarded as, like, you know, a bad as a word to denigrate or degrade somebody as a person. I'm against that, right? You know, but as a descriptor, right, you know, because it is a word that is a descriptive word, you know, like flame retardant, right? You know, this thing retarded flames. Like, come on now, you can't completely ban the word, right?
It was the technical term for the thing that we're discussing.
Yes,
it's
right.
Like, so, it's in the medical books. It's not like some slang term that was generated. It's like this was the term.
Yeah, like,
just because people decide to use it as a massive negative doesn't mean, you know, the word is invalid.
Yeah, I'm like the person in like the dude in the wheelchair, right? Like, like my homie was crippled. He was in a wheelchair.
Nigga had a homie in a wheelchair. His email was Hot Wheels at gmail.com.
Hell yeah.
At hotmail.com.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, son.
That's what's up, man. I like that shit. That's fucking awesome.
Right. So he may have been just a little retarded. You don't know if he had Down syndrome or not, but you didn't know what kind of mental illness or disorder or disease he had. Retarded seems like the most apt descriptive word.
You looked in his face and you knew he wasn't bright before you even spoke to him. Like, that's what I mean.
I mean, so, look, if we can't use retard, right? Fucktard works just as well.
Yeah. So I'm chilling. I'm sitting down with them and the guy in the wheelchair. And I think my homie Von Ho was already engaged on the dance floor or something like that.
Hold up. Von Ho is not the cripple, right?
No.
Okay.
Von Ho is Dr. Manhattan's cousin.
Okay, got it. Von Ho. Gotcha. Okay, I know who Von Ho is. But what's the? I mean, we can't just keep calling him retarded cripple. I mean, we got to call him something else.
We don't call him like, special ed.
What's his? Is that what you call? Was that the nickname you gave him?
I don't even know the nigga's name.
Oh, okay. All right, special ed.
So special ed, we're down there. So I'm kicking it, and special ed decides to go and surf the dance floor. Right. Now, the woman that he rubbed up on or against or was trying to dance with. Hold
up. He's in a wheelchair, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
Hot Wheels is in a wheelchair. Let's call him Hot Wheels.
All right. Hot Wheels, Von Ho, Special Ed, and Dirt Master.
Yeah.
And Dirt Master. Okay. Yeah. I just got I'm trying to get the characters in my head straight.
Yeah. So Dirt Master's he's on dance floor. Von Ho is on the dance floor somewhere.
Right.
And I'm sitting with Hot Wheels and Special Ed. And then Special Ed decides to hit the dance floor.
Right.
And then he starts targeting a woman who I'm looking at from afar as like, that's not a woman.
Right.
Makeup was too heavy, jaw was a little too sharp, a little too tall, like all those things.
Which can naturally occur in a naturally born female of the species.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of tall women in my family, but none of them have ever been misconstrued as men.
Right.
And so, like, he tries to dance up on her, and she's rebuffing him, like, no, I'm good, thank you, no, thank you. And he just, he's being Mr. Persistent.
Right.
So the music changes, and he walks away. He's like, man, that broad hot. And he says something. He's like, I'm gonna go get that, and he runs back out there, like before we can even say anything. And so I was like, hey, Hot Wheels. Your dude know that's a woman. I mean, a dude, right? And he's like, what? I was like, yeah, look, And then he comes back, and then Hot Wheels start capping on him. And he's like, oh, why you didn't tell me what it is? It's like, nigga, I don't know you. I'm like, that might be your thing. I don't know. I ain't a hater like that. Like, if that's your thing, do it.
That's your thing.
Yeah, but it was clear like she didn't like him. Or didn't want to fuck with him because I know you don't know that I'm a trans person.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it went away, but he was hurt and shocked and fucked up for the rest of the night out, which wasn't that great of a night out. Outside of that, like that was the highlight of the night, was clowning him for running up on a trans person and getting rebuffed.
Right. Yeah. That's a low point. That's a low point in the sexual career.
Yeah.
I used to work security for a titty bar, and I think about, if I remember correctly, it was maybe once a month they had a LGBTQ sponsored night. And let me tell you, those are the best ones I've ever worked at as a security, as a bouncer, because I didn't have to tell nobody to fucking not smoke inside the club. I didn't have to tell nobody to fucking use the proper trash receptacles. I mean, like usually, when it's a regular day at the club, the cleanup was ridiculous, because they just throw shit everywhere. But, the nights where I worked, the LGBTQ events, Didn't have to fucking clean a goddamn thing. They took care of the place, you know.
Very respectful of the space.
Very, very, very. And I didn't have to break up no fights. You know, it was like everything was cool. I actually loved working those nights because I could just chill. You know, like I could be outside, smoke my vape, you know, whatever. Be on the phone, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Working security. I'm on my phone, like, you know, shit was easy, it was cake. Loved working those nights. So
okay, so there's a Thailand story I've never heard.
Oh, it's not Thailand, it's Kuala Lumpur, man.
No.
Well, Malaysia.
So, yeah, we were in Indonesia. We were in Kuala Lumpur.
Malaysia.
Oh, yeah, that's right, Malaysia. We were in Malaysia, and we had pulled into Kuala Lumpur. This was our second deployment. We were on our way to Iraq. God damn it!
Right. I thought we were coming back.
No, we were
on
our way back. We were on our way back from the Persian Gulf, right?
Bro, look, I'm gonna tell you, Kuala Lumpur is very distinct in my mind because I took over a bar there. I'm gonna tell you that story after you go ahead.
Yeah. So me and the Rev go out on the town, right? I think it was the first night. And so we told the whatever taxi driver or whatever to take us to the hottest place, right? And so he takes us to this club and it's full of people, right? And so we're in there, and you know, we're just drinking, trying to dance because we haven't had a drop of alcohol in quite a while,
alcoholic
right?
Beverage,
yeah. So you know, we're all about the tiger beer and shit, right? Because tiger beer was the shit, right? And so what is it? Sooner or later, right? You know, trying to talk to girls and shit. Someone pops up, or one of the girls actually like tells us like, hey, you guys should probably go. And we're like, why? And like, because the bodyguards or the bouncers and the police are going to come over here and arrest you for offending the honor of a lady if you don't go. And they're like, all right, we're not trying to spend, you know, years in a prison in Malaysia.
Homeboy, right? The international incident.
That's right. Yeah, we're not trying to be an international incident for like, hey, why were you arrested in Malaysia? Why were you arrested in Kuala Lumpur? Because I was talking to bitches. That's why. You know, I can't have that. So, you know, I tell the Rev like, hey, we need to bounce because, you know, security wants to fucking get us arrested for talking to chicks. You know, they're just jealous, right? They don't want Native Americans talking to their women. So it was like, all right, we're about to go. Right. So on our way out, right, you know, I feel this hand come up to me, right, like touch me on the shoulder, and I turn around to see where the hand is originating from, right? And first thing I see is titties in my face, and I'm like, whoa, shit, there's titties in my face, right? And I'm like, well, this looks like it's gonna go well. And then as I look upward, right, to scan the face, I'm like, Asian, okay. And
might be a
dude. And then I heard wanted ducks. I'm like, man, that's a pretty deep ass voice. And then I like went back. As my eyes were going back down to the titties, I saw that Adam's apple, and I'm like, you know what? No, thank you. We're leaving.
Yeah, it's just not my thing.
Yeah, you know? I told them, I'm like, look, not trying to get arrested, and I just left.
Yeah. Like if I was into that shit, I'd be the happiest man in the motherfucking world.
Right?
But,
exactly.
You know,
it's funny, like that same club I was telling you guys about had like a BDSM night that you used to be able to get in for free if you got there early enough with a pass out of the LA Weekly or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But it was prone to have freak chicks in there, you know what I'm saying? So you go in there and, you know, like homies have gotten their dicks sucked on dance floors. You know, by going there. So we, you know, used to go there and shit. And there would be gay folks there, and there would be straight folks there, and those in between, and trans folks here and there. But the trans folks were always obvious as fuck. Like, I'm like, anybody in here looking me dead in the eye is probably a trans person, you know?
Right.
But one night I was on the dance floor. I was kind of body surfing and whatnot. And I didn't notice that the floor had been divided by the gay dudes on one side and everybody else on the other, kind of deal. Yeah. So I kind of wandered onto the gay dude side, and some dude brushed up against my ass. And I looked back, and just with a glance, he's like, "Oh, sorry about that, bro." You know, like real quick, there's like, no beef, sorry. Yeah. Thought you down with the program, and then I looked around, I was like, oh shit, there's nothing but dudes up here. Let me slide 3 feet back over to my side. Yeah.
Right.
But it was like, it was just I like the clear, like I like to call it identification. Like just from the look in my eye, you knew I wasn't down with the program, and it was all good. You know? Yeah. Like we didn't have to mince words or do anything other than like, who the fuck rubbing up against? Oh, okay, cool. Sorry, I'm in your space. Let me get out of your space. Right. So this doesn't happen again. You know.
So it doesn't have to be complicated. Just do that. Yeah, it doesn't have to be complicated. You know what I mean? There's no confrontation involved. There's no confrontation either. You just like, you know what? Respectfully, I'm gonna slide back this way. You have a good night. I'm gonna try to enjoy mine.
Yeah,
that kind of shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's all
you ain't gotta be on. Yeah, exactly. You ain't gotta be no fuck shit. So, that's cool.
Okay, so Oppression Olympics. The hardwood floors joke was the best joke in that whole show.
Remind me again what that hardwood floor joke was.
He was telling a story about his trans friend, and in the show that he allowed her to participate in, and somebody heckled her and said, does the carpet match the drapes? And she was like, I got hardwood floors, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was good.
I thought that was the best joke in the whole spot.
Daphne, that was her name.
Did you believe that Dave Chappelle was punching down?
No, I don't.
No,
I don't see. Yeah, I didn't see it that way.
Okay.
And like I said, it's I think it's not Oppression Olympics, or he wasn't trying to play the Oppression Olympics. He also wasn't punching down, or not even trying to. I think it's just that he was completely misunderstood. And if you watch and listen to like the entire program, like he's very specific in saying like, I'm on your side, like I'm trying to lift you up here, just like I'm trying to lift my people up, what I mean? So I don't think it was punching down at all.
I think he pointed something out that was quite poignant to me, and that is that when she came out and defended Dave, right?
This is going to be my next.
Yeah,
my next question is: do you think this special was motivated by her death or his disdain for cancel culture?
I think
maybe both.
I think I don't give a shit, honestly, because what I thought was poignant was when he pointed out that when she defended him, the community that she was a part of bullied her,
right?
And so much that she ended up committing suicide.
Yeah.
So I mean, what does that say about the community? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I mean?
I think that's part of the reason why they're so hot.
Yeah.
He questioned their shit. Is like, well, you didn't give her a job. You didn't put her on no gay comic circuit or anything else.
And he did. He had her. Yeah, she bombed on one of his shows, and he was like, it was the greatest thing ever.
Yeah. And so that's what's interesting, right? Pernicious or it depends on your point of view, your biases, and how you're looking at this whole situation. But for the community that she's part of to pretty much drag her like that, right? For a community who's looking for inclusivity and is doing that kind of shit, it's like, wait a minute, there's something wrong here. Like, what's going on?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. Like that right there was, I think, one of the more poignant things. Like, look, I'll use this. I'll use this as an example, right? Like I bully Candace Owens a lot, right? Because you know, I think she's a token. You know what I mean? She's out there pushing for conservative agenda that is not in the interest of, you know, the African American community. You know, in fact, I feel as if, like, I don't know if Hate Jones will agree with me on this one, is that, you know, she's actually setting the community back by trying to say that the racial biases or ethnic biases or whatever word you want to attribute, you know, apply to the biases that people have against the African American community don't exist, when in fact they do, you know. And it has what is it? It's got a lot to do with culture more than it actually has to do with, you know, the color of your skin and shit, right?
She's not a token. She's a sellout.
So
difference.
My bad. I forgot.
Sellout. Gotcha.
Sellout. Gotcha.
And I wouldn't even. It's beyond a sellout.
Yeah.
She's a charlatan, right? She is somebody who is out for themselves.
Yeah.
And will do whatever it is that they have to do to get what the, you know, shit for themselves. Like, she sued colleges before for discrimination. Right?
Right.
NAACP helped her out. Yeah. Now she talks shit about the NAACP because there's money in it.
Yeah.
That's it. So
Fox News money. Yeah.
Yeah. So she's just a person who is out there and has seen, like, pumping this conservative shit and talking negative about your own kind can be lucrative. So she's doing it.
Wow. That's that's some shit.
Oh yeah. Yeah. She's oh yeah. No, she's definitely in that shit.
I was talking to a buddy. There's like these like, okay, so in essence, she is being used, or she's part of an apparatus that is targeting Black people to join the conservative movement without the conservative party actively talking to the Black community or offering them anything in exchange for their votes.
Yeah. I like that description, apparatus.
You know,
like part of an apparatus.
Well, like if you search the interwebs and you run across some people who are talking, they won't say they're conservatives. They'll pretend to be neutral. I don't like either party, but everything they come out with, so they'll ditch Republican or Democrat.
Yeah.
But they will use liberal as a negative and then pump conservative ideas.
Yeah.
In disguise, right? So that they get you in the taste of it, right? Which is, hey, if you act right and you follow these pretenses, then your community wouldn't be all fucked up. But they never address the apparatus of racism that exists. So it's like basically telling Black people it's all your own fault that you behave this way and you get these results. Because if you acted right like I did, then we'd all be good.
Yeah, if you stop acting like a field slave and started acting like a house slave, your life would be better.
Yeah, and then slowly, so you'll start off with one of these light, you know, these I like to call them soft conservatives, right? So you come in.
They're like Stephen and Django Unchained, the house.
No, they're not that yet. That's Larry Elder.
Okay.
That's totally different. That's the top of the mountain.
Hold up a second. All right, you keep going. I gotta pause. I gotta pause my mic.
So they start off with these guys who do a lot of social commentary that are Black, trying to talk to Black people, but most of their audience is white because white people like to hear Black people agree with them.
Right.
Especially on the conservative bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And then slowly you transition, or you'll get fed the next level up, and then the next level up, and now you're listening to Candace Owens, and then by the end of it, you're following Larry Elder.
Right, you the house slave. Yeah.
Or you're full. No, not necessarily that. I'm saying that there's a difference between a house slave. House slave, field slave ain't no difference. It's just a designation of where you work.
Yeah.
The sellout, the agent, that's the problem.
Right.
When you decide to purposely sabotage your own kind for your own personal gain, or you believe in this white person so much that they become your god.
Right.
Yeah. But they come in on that soft wave, and then they kind of end up in the hard knocks, right? But they ignored like a friend of mine. She was a Latino. She was already on this track, right? And she quit talking to me. I think she was having some other problems, because she just kind of vanished from social media. Yeah. So she was on Facebook for a while, and then she dropped from Facebook and was only on Instagram. And she kept making the complaints like it's kind of like our mutual friend who tosses a lot of conservative stuff our way.
Yeah.
Man, we're just talking politics. You don't have to take it personal. But I'm like, if my life or livelihood is in the balance, it is personal.
It's fucking personal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
One of the things,
if your political agenda is to eliminate me or marginalize me in some capacity, we can't be friends.
Yeah, that's personal.
Right.
Now, here's the thing about these people like Larry Elder, Candace Owens, and shit. Right?
Hold on. Let me finish my thought about my friend, because she's the only person I know that slipped down this trail, right? So she was a person who, I think she came from a Latin country where her family had some shit, but feels like she was pushed out by socialism, right? Which is
Cuba.
No, Honduras, somewhere in that area.
Okay.
I forget which country, El Salvador, Honduras, something like that.
Right.
But she ignores the fact that, like, no, you were like under a dictatorship, and that was a real problem. It wasn't socialism. It was the guys running your shit. Yeah. And in South America, it's the socialism is always attached to a dictator. Yeah. So like it's really you're under a dictatorship, and that's the problem.
Yeah. And just a side note here is Americans seem to think that we're safe as a republic. We'll never get a dictator. Let us not forget that the first republic was the Roman Empire, and they had dictators called Caesars, but they were also a republic, a democratic republic of all things, but they still had a Caesar. All right. Yeah. So don't think that just because we live in America and we have a democratic republic, or republic as they like to keep saying, we're not in a democracy, we're in a republic. We can still have a dictator, son. Still have dictators. Yeah. Continue.
I mean, it almost happened.
Hell yeah.
So her life story, or not life story, but her basic story is her family came from a country that was rife with socialism. They had shit, so they were able to get here. Right, because she even went on like, "Oh, you need to migrate here legally," kind of shit, right? And it's like, "Well, my parents did it. Well, your parents had a store and some shit to afford you to get here, because we don't take everybody. We take the best of what everybody else has to offer, right?
Right.
Which kind of unfair. So like, oh, you don't got no shit in your country, then you can't have shit here either, you know?
Right.
And so, you know, she gets here, she lands in Watts, which is one of the reasons why I talked to her, because I'm like, we grew up in the same neighborhood, or we came from the same area. So I thought we was eye to eye. But as I start to talk to her, I realized like she's on some conservative bullshit. And, you know, we had debates and everything else, and she lost friends, and she was bragging like, you know, if they want to leave, then fine, bye, you know. And then she doesn't find any issues with the
rhetoric
of conservatives, but like to point out the racism of Hollywood liberals, you know, because she works in Hollywood in some capacity, right? And then
can you give me an example of racism perpetrated by Hollywood liberals?
It's like the the liberals who want to be down, but they still want to live in a good area and don't want to visit the hood kind of deal, right? Like black people should be okay, but like you say you're not racist, but you still clutch your pearls when you're in the elevator with a black dude,
right?
Kind of deal. You know what I'm saying? So they still have like social cues that feed into racism, but internally, like their politics aren't based in racism, so they'll vote for Obama and shit like that, but then kind of like the lady in the park with the dog, right? She voted for Obama, but then called the weaponized police against a guy who was calling her out for choking the shit out of her dog in the park. So she was kind of pointing out that shit, and I'm like, we all know that exists, but at least they vote the right way for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, we might have an issue on a social level, but they're not trying to take my voting rights away. They're not trying to make it harder for me to vote. They're not afraid to have a black person in charge of some shit, right?
Right.
So I'm like, yeah, it all sucks, but one is clearly a little bit better for me than the other. And so she used to be massively overweight when we're in college. And I don't know how she lost weight, but she works out a lot.
Cocaine.
Now. So I don't know if she had a surgery or if it was just sheerly from working out.
It's cocaine.
So she saved up her money. She became a homeowner and a home renter on top of that, right? So now she's totally in the Republican bucket because I got some money in my pocket and I'm a landowner, and now everything matters. So any rule that fucks up my financial situation, I'm against,
Yeah.
And so we were talking constantly, and I was like, she was down with kind of Candace Owens a little bit and was, asking me questions about what I thought about her. And I was like, conservative means conserving power for white people, right? That's not true. I was like, go look up where conservatism comes from. Because she was trying to play that whole Dixiecrat, like it was the Democrats who did. I was like, yeah, it was the white Democrats who eventually became the Republican Party. Like there was clearly a flip-flop in history, and these are some of the fallacies that these soft conservatives try to flip on black people.
It's like, do you have no concept of history? Is that, I mean, the Democrats and the Republicans do not exist in the vacuum called the 2021. All right, there's actual history that goes way back that explains why the Democrats then are not the same Democrats they are now.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, she kind of poo-pooed it or didn't understand it. I was like, look, if you go look up where conservatism came from and when did it start, you can go get the fucking conservative manifesto, and it's about conserving whiteness and power and making sure that nobody else could usurp it. And it's connected to the Confederacy, because what they're trying to do is bring back the Confederacy. Like that's the ultimate agenda, is to have the South rise again.
And I mean, let's not forget that even when before the Civil War and during the Civil War, there were also black people that were on the side of the Southern whites that
there weren't. There were people who were forced to fight for the Southern.
No, I mean, you mean to tell me that out of all of those, there were not, Stevens? You're telling me there aren't any Stevens during the Civil War?
Man, it wouldn't be that many.
Yeah, well, of course
it
not.
Wouldn't be. I'm saying when you look at all the black folks who fought for that side, it was basically like, shoot this gun at them or I'm gonna kill you, kind of shit.
Yeah, but there had to be a handful of assholes, because the handful of assholes is always true.
I mean, there's okay. So like today, right? There are there's Candace Owens, there's Larry Elder, and a handful of others. Totally not the fucking majority. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Candace Owens, Larry Elder, they're outliers. They're the handful of assholes fucking it up for everybody else.
Could there be people on fighting on that side for a particular reason? Possibly. Is the majority of them there like that? Nah. I mean, it's like an inconsequential number.
Well, here's what I wanted to point out. And that is that these people that are playing these, that have sold themselves out, right? If something pops off, like if there's a an ethnic racial crisis that pops off, right? They are going to be the first ones that are going to get lined up. Well, they're the first ones that are going to get dragged, or they're going to get dragged in with the black people inevitably.
Bust this.
Go ahead.
His mic paused again.
Yeah. The interwebs be giving him problems.
Yeah.
It's because he's black. The interwebs is racist, son.
Right? There's some racial discrimination going on.
I know.
Testicles 1 2. 1 2 testicles.
Regent Lima Charlie.
All right. Damn it. Where was I? Oh, so the insurgency that took place, right? This year. There were a lot of black folks in there. And at a certain point, a lot of N-words get thrown out at a certain point. This shows you the real mind state of the people who were storming the Capitol, right?
Yeah.
A lot of those black people who got arrested, or they just vacated, So, like, clearly that shows you who this party's about.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
I haven't seen liberal whites raid something and start calling black folks niggers.
No.
Like, I haven't heard that shit. What I'm saying? So I'm like, if you can't see beyond that, or they'll, I don't see conservative, I don't see liberal white folks running with tiki torches saying Jews will not replace us.
Yeah.
So like, how can you as a black person decide to join this organization or this movement when people like that
are in
overtly exist in it? At power levels.
Yeah.
So how can you even come close to thinking that this movement has anything to do with you getting anything good out of it?
It's called cognitive dissonance.
Yeah. Because they like to use a lot of the tropes. It's like, the black family was destroyed by liberal policies of welfare. And
No, they're not. You know what? All right, look, I'm gonna try to get back to Dave Chappelle and the idea when he's in the special said that his problem has never been with the trans people. His problem's always been with the whites, right? Mm-hmm. Now, one of the things that I want to point out is one of the arguments that these people have caught on one of these nationalist arguments, right? Where they're trying to get people to become nationalistic, just like the Nazis got the Germans to become nationalistic before they started, carting Jews off to concentration camps to get murdered
by the fucking train car full.
Yeah, is that they're trying to pin it on the Democrats as they do. That's their technique, but they're calling them globalists, right? Yeah. And I'm like, if your argument really was against globalism and the globalist elite, then let me point out some globalists to you that you should be trying to burn down. All right. Here's the list of globalists that are responsible for putting down the average American wage, welfare, and all of this shit. All right. You ready for my list? AT&T, Coca-Cola, Nestle, PepsiCo, 3M, DuPont, Tyson, Apple, Microsoft, any other corporations? Intel, Dell, Shell, Chevron. These are globalists. You want to know why they're globalists? Because they're may be headquartered in the United States, but they got offices all around the country, all around the world, man. They're the true globalists. It's not the Democrats. The Democrats are actually trying to tax these globalists. So what the Republicans are doing is they're taking everything that the Democrats are arguing, right? Flipping it through the cognitive dissonance and the the Dunning-Kruger machine, and then feeding it to their sheep who have all their lives been conditioned to just obey Jesus and God. So they're primed to just accept anything as knowledge, right? Or as the truth. Right, because I mean, if they're willing to believe in the ghost daddy from above, then they'll believe pretty much anything. right?
You know,
so
Sam Harris talks about something similar, and I think you could find the analogy in both when you compare them side by side. He says that religious moderation is the product of what did he say? Secular knowledge and scriptural ignorance. And what is it? He said, by failing to live by the letter of the texts of scripture, they tolerate the irrationality of those who do. And by doing that, religious moderates betray faith and reason equally. And so he makes the argument, he makes contention that, you know, it's not really the fundamentalists that, you know, we need to change.
Yeah.
You know, because they're going to be fundamentalists regardless, right? Because
True.
they think that this is the unchangeable letter of God's word, whichever God they believe in. You know, it's the ones in the middle who are like, they're allowing this shit to happen because by criticizing the fundamentalists, then, you know, you're trying to cancel them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, how dare you? That's racist, or that's, you know, that's oppressive. Like, motherfucker, they're trying to blow me up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what's up? You know, they're Christians are trying to fucking burn that abortion clinic over there, or the fucking Planned Parenthood or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? You know, so it's like, I think you can find commonalities between, you know, those two subsets of people.
Yeah.
And they probably overlap, you know, in membership as well.
Yeah.
You know, and so I just think I forget the term that Hay Jones used, the soft conservatives.
Yeah, soft conservatives.
They're very similar with, you know, in the rhetoric with religious moderates. Yeah. You know, so that's all I got.
Yeah. No, but I mean, it is. I do like discussing, you know, these conservative memes that pop up in our newsfeed with our friends who identify themselves as conservative, and you realize, but you don't really align a lot. Like, personally, you don't align a lot with that ideology, but you're perpetuating, you know, the apparatus, as, you know, Hay Jones pointed out, right?
Right.
You know, it's like, I know that you couldn't possibly believe what these motherfuckers are saying, but you seem to parrot a lot of what they say, as if, you know, just because they said it, you're like, well, that's what I believe now. You know, and it has a lot to do with operant conditioning from when they were, you know, young.
Yeah, it's a very it's a very fallacious manner of thinking, in my opinion. I mean, it's, you know, it's an appeal to authority.
Yeah, what is it?
I mean?
I posted that meme by Oscar Wilde, that Oscar Wilde quote.
Yeah.
That and that's because it's so true. Like, a lot of people, what is it?
Like most of the people that you'll meet aren't, you know, the real people that you meet. They're the opinions of people that they know.
Yeah, most people are other people. Their thoughts are someone else's opinion. Their lives a mimicry. Their passions a quotation. You know, and then the other one, which is very, very interesting because it applies a whole lot to social media and, you know, the thing about Facebook and all of that shit. You know, the controversy around Facebook and how the Russians used memes to alter the election of 2016 through influence in social media. And this is one of the things that's most pernicious about social media in itself. This quote is, "Man is least himself when he talks in his person. Give him a mask and he will tell you the truth." Right?
Right.
So you
right.
Because and that is so true. The anonymity of social media allows people to really kind of be themselves. Like, you know, it's a lot of we like to dismiss it as a lot of shit posting, but at the same time, it's like, but the mask, you know, of anonymity that social media offers people is really telling you what people are really fucking like. And
or what really moves them. you know?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So, but did we conclude that Dave Chappelle was not playing the Oppression Olympics?
Yes.
And then I had one other question out of all the list on here.
Yeah.
Well, no, actually I had two.
Okay.
So one would be, let me see, where was it? Does disagreeing with the group's stance make a person anti that group?
As much as I hate to say that cancel culture isn't a thing, right? Because it seems to be the label that we've attached to ostracism for the time being. We'll use that as the term.
Well, cancel culture is blackballing by society versus being blackballed by a power structure.
Okay.
So for instance, the government directly blackballed people who were either a part of the Communist Party in America,
right,
or somehow connected to it or thought to be connected to it, right?
Right. They canceled those folks.
Yeah. Total cancel culture, right?
Yeah.
But it was by a power structure versus when cancel culture is when we as a general society or a group of society says, we don't like what you said or did, we're not supporting you anymore, and now we're going to protest against you.
Right. Now, I don't want to call it cancel culture, right? Because neither of those two things really have anything to do with what it is that's actually happening societally. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Culturally speaking, right? It's not exactly what's happening. It sounds like a negative thing, but what it is first of all, canceling someone started on Black Twitter as a fucking joke, right? Mm-hmm. So, and here's the perniciousness of racism, right?
Well, actually, it started with Nino Brown in New Jack City would cancel this motherfucker.
Right, and this is the perniciousness of racism, right? They're going to take what is essentially a joke, right? That amongst the African American community, and then turn it into a negative, right? Yeah. So that right there is first of all, one of the things to point out as to why cancel culture seems to be a negative among the conservatives and their movement is because they're just trying to cancel us because it's racist, because they're racist. No, right. No. There's a large majority of people who tend to agree that the shit that's going on is fucking wrong, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, what was the question again? Because the ADHD kicked in there.
Hey, Jones, you there? I think he, if I remember correctly, he asked.
Disagreeing with the group.
Yeah,
disagreeing with the group, right?
If you disagree with the group stance, does that mean you disagree with
the whole thing? Well, no, of course not. That's irrational. I mean, that's just an irrational thing,
a false equivocation, maybe.
A what?
False equivocation.
I don't know if it's a false equivalency, but
or equivalency. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Where did equivocation come up?
I don't know.
Or it come from?
The weed.
It must be the weed. Yeah. It's got to be.
But disagreeing with the group, right, does have has its social consequences among early man, right? But that was early man. If you disagreed with the tribe, there was a good chance that you were going to get tossed out, right?
You and I have discussed this at length.
Yeah.
Even though we are living at the pinnacle of technology, the pinnacle of human achievement, we are still operating in a tribal like society.
Well, I mean, the brain has not evolved as fast as technology has to keep up with it.
I know. And this is exactly what this is axiomatic. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, you can look at this and say, well, this is why. It's like 2 + 2 is 4 all the time, right?
Yeah.
So it's axiomatic as 2 + 2 is 4.
Yeah.
You can look at
scientifically, what's going on is very evolutionary in that if